Hi, my name's Babs from Protect Your Empire, and today I'm coming on here to talk to you about the different kinds of business structures you can use for establishing your small business or online business in the UK. So bear in mind, this is based in the UK. I will be doing some videos on US business structures at a later date. This only applies if you're looking to set up a business in the UK. So first of all, you can just set up right now. You can start taking in money, selling products, selling services right now. And that would be you working as a sole trader. Now, what are the formalities with a sole trader? Well, first of all, you need to make sure that you register with HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC, and you have to register as a self-employed person. The reason you need to do that is because you need to file an annual return in January every single year. That's where you declare everything that you have made for that year and all the expenses you have paid out, if you've paid any wages, if you've paid for business costs. From that, you work out the tax that you have to pay, and now as a self-employed person, you're responsible for declaring your tax. So top tip, make sure you do not start up a business without starting up a business bank account and also a business tax bank account. A really good rule of thumb is to make sure that every single month you put 20% of what you make into that business tax account, and then you will never have an issue with tax down the line. That's just a quick tip for you. But if you're running as a sole trader, that's it. That's really all you need to do. Those are the only formalities. But now the thing you need to be aware of when you run as a sole trader, i.e. just yourself, is that you have unlimited liability. Now, what does unlimited liability mean? Well, that basically means that if something goes wrong, if you don't deliver on a contract, if somebody sues you, if you get fined, it's you that is personally responsible. Your liability is unlimited, okay? So they could take your house, take your car, take your money, and you could effectively go bankrupt, okay? Now that's scary stuff, but that is the risk that you run with being a sole trader. Another thing with being a sole trader is that you don't always get the tax breaks that you can get if you're running as a company. So pros and cons of being a sole trader. Pros, it's really easy to set up, you can do right now, and all you really need to do is your annual tax return. But cons, you really expose yourself to a lot of liability if something goes wrong, and for every business it pretty much will at some point. So you won't want to stay as a sole trader forever. It's okay as an interim measure. But then the other con is that you don't necessarily have the same tax breaks that you would as a limited company, okay? Another type of business structure that you might want to consider is just a partnership, and it's called a general partnership. Now, that is just me and one other person deciding that we're going to be in business together. Now, it's not necessary, but it's definitely advisable that you would have a partnership agreement there, because otherwise, how do you know how you're going to split the profits, what you do if in the event that you guys have a disagreement? You want to be really, really clear on that. There's still nothing to register with Companies House. There's no kind of filing requirements other than you do need to register as a partnership when it comes to tax time. You have to make partnership tax returns. You still have to make your annual self-assessment. The thing with a partnership is it's pretty much like being a sole trader but with another person. You still have this horrible unlimited liability to think about. You're still taxed as an individual, which could potentially mean a higher tax rate. Then we go on to some of the structures that I like a little bit better, okay? So we get onto limited company and a limited liability partnership. Now, a limited liability partnership, an LLP, is something you'll see a lot with like law firms, medical practices, dental surgeries, that kind of thing. And it's because it gives the flexibility of a general partnership, but the limited liability of a company. So that limited liability means basically, if I'm a partner in an LLP, I put in £100 of my investment, that is all that I can lose, okay? So if everything goes bust, if the LLP gets sued, I can only be out £100, and everything I own as a personal individual is safe. But LLPs are a little bit more tricky to navigate around if this is brand new to you, and they're certainly not appropriate if it's just you in business, okay? Because you need 2 or more persons for an LLP. What I would recommend is if you have decided that being a sole trader isn't for you, you definitely want to think about registering a limited company in the UK. So really small fee. The fee varies depending on how quickly you want the company incorporated, but you're looking at about £13 to £15 normally. Small fee. There is a really simple online system. If you just go to companieshouse.gov.uk, it takes you through step by step every single thing that you need to do. What you do need to be aware of with a limited company is that you have annual filing requirements. So every year you have to file a confirmation statement. Now, it literally takes 5 minutes, okay? So when people complain about the filing requirements, really it's not a big deal. You just have to confirm every year who the directors are, which will be you, who the shareholders are, which will be you, and who the persons of significant control are, again, usually you. So it's really, really straightforward. This is basically the time when you tell Companies House if there's been any changes in your company. As well as that, you have to get your accounts done. You should be getting your accounts done by an accountant as a sole trader or a partnership anyway, because you want to make sure you're making the most of all the tax rules, that you can kind of avoid tax where you don't have to be paying it. But you really need it for a company. You need to have an accountant appointed and you need to file those accounts every year. To be honest, I don't see that as much of a bigger deal than filing your annual self-assessment, because you need to work out what's coming in and what's going out anyway. The only difference is you have to send it into Companies House. I'm definitely on the bandwagon with setting up as a limited company as soon as possible. If anybody said to you it's too early or it's too expensive or there's too much to do, that's really just not true, okay? With being a limited company, it can be just you. It takes max £15 to set up. You have limited liability, as I mentioned, with the LLPs, so if I put in £500 investment, that's all I'm losing. Nobody can take my personal money if something goes wrong. And there are tax breaks as well, okay? The corporation tax that you pay is 20%, 19 to 20%. Compared to if you're earning over a certain amount in the UK, it can be 40%. If you have any questions about that, please comment below this video. Make sure to thumbs up this video, to subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions about anything at all, comment below and I will get back to you. I'm Babs from Protect Your Empire and have an awesome day.